Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. So I've been coming up with videos to kind of look at smaller teams and, talk about them a lot more because there's 32 teams and I talk about the main ones the most, but I want to talk about other ones. So we have this topic today that is going to definitely pop up when it gets closer to the end of next season. Not this season, next season, but it is something I want to discuss when it comes to the Nashville Predators. So currently, the Predators have two-star goalies right now. They have Saros, who is already an established star NHLer, and he got Yaroslav Askarov, who has 2 years left on his ELC and has been playing down low with the Admirals and has been putting up very good numbers for them. The question is, though, and the issue is with these two goalies being in their system is they probably can't keep both. That is the problem. They cannot keep both of these goalies. So there is a possibility that one of them could get traded, and we're going to discuss that today. So first off, we're going to go through the stats for each goaltender with everything in that. Talk about their contract and just overall like their whole situation right now. So we'll look at Saros first. Is a more established NHL goalie. Obviously has a few seasons under his belt already. These stats are based off of 22-23 because at time recording, pretty much like there hasn't been a lot of games played for every team. I think Nashville's played like 2 total, and they're like 1-1. So we're not gonna base the stats off of that. That's dumb. But we'll base it off of last year's stats. So last year he had a 33-23-7 record with a 2.69 goals against average and a .919 save percentage. I said this a lot. He was a big part of why Nashville even came close to the playoffs. He backstopped them to like being like a few points out. So I was very impressed with the way he played last year. And again, if it weren't for him, I mean that team probably wouldn't have come as close as they did. Honestly, he gets paid $5 million. Yeah. It doesn't even matter like how you want to say it. That is a steal of a contract, especially for what he does with that team. Once his deal expires in 24-25, he is going to get paid, and it is not even funny. He will get paid. A very good amount of money for sure. That is something that I do expect with Saros. Whether he's in Nashville or not, he will get paid good money. Absolutely. And Nashville, they've had so many goalies come through their system. They're like a goalie market. You got Pecorine, you got Saros, you got Askarov now, and even Kevin Lankinen. Not even gonna say he's like good, but like he's looked decent with Nashville. He looked solid last year with them. So yeah, overall, Saros, great goalie. He's going to get paid at 24-25. Anywho, Askarov. Askarov's an interesting one because they drafted him, I believe, 13th overall or 14th overall, somewhere around there, in the 2020 draft. And he's yet to make his NHL debut, which I would imagine is like this coming season. He'll play some games. But this past year with the Milwaukee Admirals, he had a 26-16-5 record with a 2.69 goals against average and a .911 save percentage. He is on his second year of his ELC, and his ELC will end in 24-25. So that is one thing I want to keep in mind. Those two goalies both expire in 24-25, which means there is a very good chance that one of them is going to get traded. Now, Askarov, there is a possibility, there is a small chance. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but there is a small chance he doesn't pan out. He becomes an AHL goalie. He doesn't make his shot at the NHL. He just overall just doesn't pan out in the NHL and becomes an AHL goalie. Then it's a different scenario, but I doubt that happens because Askarov has been putting up very good numbers with Milwaukee, and it's expected for him to play at least some NHL time this coming year. Now, I believe Lankinen expires in 23-24, if they decide to let Lankinen go and run a Saros Askarov tandem for 24-25, hey, God bless them, they can do that. That would probably be better for both of the players. But overall, like my point is, you can't keep two. You can't keep two really star goaltenders. Yes, Askarov is like unproven in that mark, but you can't keep two star potential type goaltenders on your team. I've seen it happen so many times before where teams have tried to do it. They can't because these goalies want a lot of money. And, maybe Askarov takes a team-friendly deal. Maybe Saros takes a team-friendly deal. But do I see that happening? Probably not. Hellebuck could have taken a team-friendly deal. He took 8.5. Not saying he didn't deserve 8.5, but he could have taken less. every player can take less. But you see the cap rising, and the money is getting better for the NHL overall. Teams are gonna be, or players are gonna be like, yeah, I want that kind of money. Give that to me. So, and I do the same thing. I think we'd all do the same thing if we were in Saros' position or Hellebuck's position or any of those guys. So the next question is, like, what are these contracts these guys are going to get signed to? Now, you look at, like, Hellebuck, he gets signed to an 8.5 contract. That is the most recent one that I can think of. Vasilevsky's around $9 million. You got Sorokin 8.5 as well, I believe. So, I would imagine Saros is going to get somewhere around $9 million. I think that's probably where they're going to go because Saros has been such a good goalie for them. And I don't know if he's, like, as great as Sorokin and Hellebuck, but definitely he deserves around that money. So he's probably going to get between $8 and $9 million, which is expected. Now, Askarov. Obviously, there's a full season ahead. Like, there's this season and the next season ahead that is something you got to keep in mind. But Askarov could make easily what Saros is making right now. And combine that together, 9 plus 5 is literally $14 million split between two goalies, and teams don't tend to want to do that, especially with the salary cap. You have, especially with Nashville too, they have a lot of very high-paid contracts right now. Some of them they got rid of, but they still have some. And definitely, those contracts will still be around in 24, 25. So obviously that is a question. Now, I do know, and the next question is who's going to get traded or who's going to get moved or stuff in that. I do know that Askarov almost got moved at the draft. That damn near happened. I don't know if it was because Nashville wanted to do like a PR move because the draft was in Nashville and they wanted to shock the fans there, or they just truly wanted to move up into the top three. But they did try and move Askarov to one of those top three teams in that draft. And realistically, had he gotten traded, this problem goes away. But since he didn't, this is still something that is worth discussing. Now, maybe I'm a little bit too early on this. Maybe I'm too early on this topic. But it is something I did want to talk about. I think the most likely scenario is they won't get traded this year. Askarov may get rumored to be moved at the draft again next year. That could happen. But that following trade deadline, if Nashville isn't a contending team, maybe they look at moving Saros. Maybe they look at moving Askarov. Maybe they decide one of the two. But I think if it's trade deadline, it's more likely Saros. Unless Askarov plays really well this coming season and becomes an NHL regular in net. But I can't see that happening with Kevin Lankinen, who's looked solid last season for Nashville. So overall, that is my thoughts on that. Honestly, we'll see what happens. I'll probably make another video on it next year, or when the talks start up again. But regardless, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe on down below. I really appreciate it. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.